What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I think we're just gonna play around with makeup. I'm feeling very red today as my shirt and this and the Christmas balls and all of that because it's almost December. I think it's like the day before December, something like that. And yeah, sorry, I just had to look at my phone. I think what I want to do is maybe use this palette again. Like some of the red tones down in the bottom. I also have my James Charles palette here, which looks like that. And I don't know if I'm going to dig into this palette too, but I brought it just in case. I went ahead and did my eyebrows already. I used, sorry, I'm going to have to like set stuff down next to me and behind me and all that. I used this Got To Be Glued again, and just a spoolie from a brush, and I just brushed them up. And now I'm gonna go in and fill them in a little bit. I'm not gonna do too much. I'm very excited but also like nervous about the holidays. I think it's because, like, I don't know, there's not a lot of things that I want really, and people keep asking me what I want for Christmas, and I don't really want anything, to be honest. I kind of have everything that I want. There's not really a want for anything because I don't really need anything, you know? And if I need something, then I'll get it. But I don't want to go through the trouble of like having people buy me a whole bunch of stuff that I don't need, because I don't want to clutter my room. My room's already pretty small, and the more stuff I get, the more cluttered, and I don't have time for all that. Since I've started doing my eyebrows like this, like the fluffy eyebrow look, it's taken me like 2 minutes to do my eyebrows. Because I just brush the hair up like that, and I just fill them in a little bit. And then I'm gonna go in and like clean them up, of course, because you can't not clean up my eyebrows. But I hope everyone's doing well. I was attacked by my cat yesterday, like I said, but unintentionally. And it's always something with me. It's really always something. I just can never catch a break from anything. But it's okay, because my cat unintentionally did it. It's not like she meant to hurt me, you know? I think later today, my boyfriend's gonna come by and we're gonna decorate, well, put up and decorate our Christmas tree. So it's one that we've had at my house, but because my sister doesn't live here anymore, she's not here to help us decorate the tree. And so it will be my boyfriend and I now, kind of like our thing to decorate the tree. Sorry, y'all, give me a second. I try to carve them out still, just a little bit, to try and help them look more sculpted and just a little more put together. Like they're supposed to look like this, and that I'm not just doing it and hoping that it looks good, you know? Something like that, that'll work. And I'm actually using a foundation to do this, which I normally wouldn't do. I have concealer that I use, but we're gonna try something different today, because the same foundation that I'm using is like this little one, Smashbox Studio Skin 24-Hour Wear Hydrating Foundation, shade 1.05. My friend gave this to me because it's not her shade, and she got it in a little Ipsy thing, but it doesn't look right because she's so fair that it leaves like a line of coloring. So we're not gonna put her through that. I think I'm gonna start with my eyes. I'm gonna use this primer that I always use. It's the NYX Proof It Waterproof Shadow Primer. Please don't mind my nails, by the way. They're disgusting. I had them done when I had gone to Austin like a month ago, and they were like Halloween nails, and then I came back and then I got them redone in like this nude color, and they were so pretty and they lasted, but then they ended up growing out and they were a mess, so I took them off. And then I decided, let me go to CVS and get some of those stick-on nails. And I put those like stick-on nails on there, and they were okay, but not the best. And they lasted like a week, and then I took those off, but then my nails underneath just needed a break from all that glue and suffocation. So now I'm just kind of trying to like let them be, but they're so short and like, so bad. My nails are so thin too because I used to bite them all the time. We're gonna do this, and then I'm gonna set my eyelids. I can't put eyeshadow on without setting my eyelids unless I'm using like a concealer. If I'm using an eyeshadow base, then I'm not gonna want to take that chance of putting a shadow down on top of that. To me, a concealer just works a little bit better if I'm wanting to put a shadow down on top of a wet base. But if I'm gonna if I'm not using a wet base and I'm using a concealer, then I'm not gonna do that. I hope it's not too bright. I have like my bright lights next to me to help, and then I have my light above me on, and then there's obviously like the settings on the camera and all that, but I'm sorry if it gets a little like blurry where you can't see. Here comes the scary part. Let me zoom in a little bit. The reason this is so scary is because I have no idea what I'm gonna do, and I'm scared that if I do something and I don't like it and I mess up, then I'm gonna hate it and then I'm gonna quit and that nobody's gonna see this video and it's just gonna be a disaster. So I'm actually gonna look up on Pinterest some like red and Christmas ideas just so I can have kind of like a starting point, you know? Okay, so that's really pretty, but so are those. But something like that is pretty, I don't know. Okay, so now that I have this inspiration, I'm just gonna dip in this really bright red color Inferno. But I'm gonna use a small brush. I'm just gonna dip in this really bright red color Inferno. But I'm gonna use a small brush so I can place that color where I want it to be. So you see where the skin folds right there? So that's like where my crease is, like right in here. And so I'm gonna take that color and I'm just gonna place it on my lid. And the reason I'm placing it on my lid and lightly patting upwards is because I'd rather the majority of the color be on my lid where I can clean it up later versus putting it in my crease and blending it too high and then I can't go back in and blend that out later, you know? So I'm just gonna pack that color on. Very, very, very lightly with no extra product. Just tapping it out. I don't know that I like this red very much. I wish it was a little bit deeper, but I don't have a deeper red. The one on the James Charles palette's not this deep. So now that it's packed on where I want it, I'm gonna go in with just like this plain fluffy at the top blender brush. And I'm just gonna lightly go along the top. I'm blending that out with just a brush like this. Makes it look pretty blended. Not blended how I want it to be. Sorry, my back itches. But I'm gonna go in with that same brush we used in the beginning, grab some more red and pack it down. And I'm just gonna do this until I'm really happy with it. It's hard for me to do this and like talk at the same time. Go in with this brush. I'm actually gonna take my color switch and just run that clean brush in there just to get off as much red eyeshadow as I can. That way when I go to blend it out, there won't be any on the brush. It might look stained. There's none there. And slowly blend it. I'm sorry if you can hear my dad or my mom in the background because they're talking and my dad's trying to figure something out, I think, with his job. My back hurts so bad, y'all. I'm gonna take a little bit of this color Boy Bye because it's kind of like a red. It's like a red orange, but it's the closest thing to the color that I put on my lids. So I'm gonna take that same brush, lightly tap in there, tap off the excess, and then go right in the crease. So it still looks kind of harsh, not gonna lie it is, but we're gonna fix that in a little bit. And now I'm gonna go ahead and do the other eye and I will be right back. So I went ahead and I did the other eye and they're both a little bit messy, but that's totally fine because you can always clean that up later and I have to clean up underneath. I've just been taking this brush. I know it looks super dirty because it's stained already because the bristles are white, you know, and then using red on it is not the best idea. But I'm just gonna try and clean that. And then it stains the brush still, you know. But there's nothing on it and I just take that and I lightly go over the edges where the eyeshadow is. I just got off the phone with my boyfriend and he told me that there was a person that died at the University of Houston last night and or overnight. Turns out it was a homeless person and they froze to death because of how cold it was, and that is so incredibly sad. Speaking of homeless people, I'll tell you a story real quick. My boyfriend and I last night decided that we were going, fudge, I need to get my eyeliner, I'll be right back. So last night, my boyfriend and I, we tried to help out this homeless woman who lives in like this open field next to his house. I'm also looking down because I'm gonna be like doing eyeliner. Yeah, so she lives in an open field with like not really anything at all. And she was sitting on, like when we pulled up, sorry, I can't do this at the same time. When we pulled up, she was sitting there like on a tarp and she got up and she started walking away to the street and she was like carrying something and it looked like a bunch of toilet paper. So we were like, okay, well, let's wait and see where she goes first before we try and help her. And she goes into the middle of, not the middle of the street, but she goes to the street and is like walking in the street and just lets all of this like toilet paper and stuff go in the middle of the street and just walks away. And so my boyfriend and I are like, okay, that's kind of like odd that she's doing that. Let's wait and see what she does, or like where she goes again. So she goes back to her stuff, her tarp, I should say, because that's really all it was just like a tarp on the ground. She goes back to there and she drinks something, and then this lady, another lady, decides to show up. So this lady has like a jacket with her from Walmart, and it's white, and this lady, mind you, the homeless lady is wearing like all white cream colors. I would guess that she's probably in her 50s. She was like around there. She's a black woman. She didn't have any hair. Her head was shaved, but she had like a little bit of hair. You could see like a tattoo that she had on her head, and she was wearing like white and cream colors only, had a white blanket or a cream color blanket with her, and that was it. She didn't have anything that had color on her. So this lady that pulled up bought her a jacket from Walmart, and she brought it to the lady, and they were both on a first name basis with each other, and she also had brought her some food. Well, my boyfriend and I were like, okay, well, thankfully there's another lady here helping her. Well, we try and give this lady some of the stuff we bought her, and we bought her a lot of stuff. It was like $30-something worth of stuff from the dollar store, and it was jelly, a loaf of bread, it was applesauce, because that's easy to eat, and you know, you don't really have to like warm that up or anything. And so we had just like bought this stuff for her, thinking like she'll like it and she'll appreciate it and she'll use it and all of that, because we've given her food before. Well, I pulled out this bag that was a black bag, and inside it had socks, like multiple pairs of fuzzy socks, a beanie, all sorts of like stuff to keep her feet warm, because this lady didn't have shoes on, she didn't have socks on, nothing. So she immediately touches the bag and like scoots it away and is like, I can't do the color black. And I'm like, okay, well, would you like anything from inside of it? And I pulled out a beanie, and she's like, I can't wear hats. Like, okay, I'm sorry about that. Well, would you like some socks? No, get the black bag away from me, I can't. It's like, okay. My boyfriend grabbed the food bag and all of that, and we got her some peanut butter too if she wanted to make like PB&J sandwiches, but she didn't have to eat it if she was allergic, you know, the option was there. So she grabs the peanut butter jar and she's like, I can't do this. I can't eat peanut butter. When Lucifer comes to get me, I can't have peanut butter in my system or peanuts in my body. So I was like, okay, that's odd. Maybe this woman is very clearly not fully there, or she's got some kind of like mental disorder, or maybe she is just a believer in Lucifer and all of that. So we put the food away, and all of this stuff just immediately goes back into the back of the car that we were in. And finally, Michael gives her this blanket, and it's like, the blanket's been washed and cleaned, and Michael's mom had given it to us to give to her, and it was like this tan cream colored blanket. Well, she goes, is it new? And Michael and I are like, excuse me, I'm sorry, like it's washed, it's cleaned, we want you to have it. It's not necessarily new, but it's very, very washed, very clean, hasn't really been used. We kind of just like bought it and it sits in a closet. And she was like, well, if it's not new, then why would you give it to me? Would you give it to your wife? And she pointed to me, and I kind of just like looked at her and then looked at Michael and then the other woman that was standing there, and she goes, well, if it's not new and you wouldn't give it to your wife, then why would you think that it's okay to give it to me? And we're kind of just like, okay. So we just took all the stuff and then we left, and we figured there's another homeless person out there that would appreciate the food and the water and the help that we are trying to give, because she didn't want nothing from nobody. That other woman even brought her like a jacket and a sweater from Walmart, and she told her no, she didn't want it because she can't do zippers. Like, she can't wear anything that has a hat or zippers. So it definitely was an experience, and I hope that woman gets help. I wanted to help her because she's a woman, and I know that being homeless and a woman and, you know, having a menstrual cycle and all of that, like, it can be hard. And when you don't have anything, like, you know, I would hope that someone would be generous enough to help. And luckily that other woman was there, because it looked like for a while this woman didn't have any help from anybody, which really sucks, because I'm sure she's got family out there somewhere, or like other people willing to help her. It is what it is, and we're gonna help somebody else. I just thought that it was like crazy how trying to help somebody like that has. But yeah, I'm just praying for that woman, because she needs a lot of help. So I went ahead, I did my wing and all of that, and just with the e.l.f. liquid eyeliner, works so well. I'm gonna take the CC Beauty, it says on there, it's just this palette this face paint palette. It's a dupe for the Makeup for Everyone. And I'm going to take this teensy tiny brush and I'm going to go in with the white. And I'm going to take this white and like really like scoop up some. So I have a lot. And I'm going to this. I'm going to outline the wing. I hope this can work out well because if it doesn't, I'm going to be so mad. Okay, so that was very hard to do while having the camera on. And I'm sorry. I had to go in and like touch up the white and then touch up the liner and then touch up the white again and then touch up the liner again, and it was just like a whole disaster. However, I had it connected with white down to here and it looked pretty cool, but I think I'm just gonna leave it like that for right now. Do the other side, come back, assess the situation, and we'll see how it goes. It's really hard doing this without a liner. Like doing it with face paint is one thing, but doing it with like an actual eyeliner that's meant to be there is a whole another thing because it's so much easier to work with. I wish I had one. I might have to go buy one from somewhere. I'm gonna try this again, but we're gonna try it on the other side. And it might be very messy, but you just have to play with it. You're not gonna get it right on the first time unless you're a freaking professional or you have luck. You have to build it up, build it up, build it up. So something like that. You can see how one looks really crisp and then the other looks like absolute trash. You just gotta work with it. Give it a minute. Sorry y'all, I'm setting this with like a cream powder, and it's the white shadow from the James Charles palette. And then I'm gonna take just a fluffy brush and just go over it like that. And then if I can find my fraggin', there it is. I'm gonna go back in with my eyeliner, my black eyeliner, and I'm gonna trace out how I want my winged eyeliner to be. And it's still wet too, holy crap. Okay, so it's gonna be something like that. I have to wait for the liners and the face paint and the powder and all of that to dry because apparently didn't the first go around. And I still have to fix that liner because that liner looks horrendous. I'm gonna try something real quick. I'm gonna see if I can set the black liner, the black eyeshadow. Okay, so this is taking me forever, but that's the gist of it. I'm gonna go touch it up, make it how I want it to be, and then I'm gonna come right back because this video is already gonna be like an hour long just from this. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I got it kind of the way I want it. Still not perfect, but we're gonna make it work because I'm tired of dealing with this shit. So now I'm going to switch to the face and I'm gonna use pore filling primer. I like paint and stuff all over. Gosh, I really don't like using that paint for like makeup, but it's kind of like what I have and what I bought, so I kind of just have to work with it. I know it seems like I'm putting on a lot because I did put on a lot. Oh god, this hurts so bad. This one in particular hurts so bad. It's really sore, like the cut from the cat. I'm not even like focusing on that one. These ones up here don't hurt as bad. They're still a little bit sore to the touch, but other than that, they aren't too bad. And that was just a pore filling primer because it is gonna help. So it's a pore filling primer and a mattifying primer in one. That way I don't have to put two separate primers on. Now I'm gonna take my setting spray. This one's just from LA Girl. Spray my face to put a little bit of hydration back in. Not too much, but just enough. I'm gonna take the Smashbox foundation I used earlier. We're gonna see if this is a color match for me because I don't know if it will be. Looks a little dark. This is a little dark for me too, but we'll see if we can make it work when I shear it out. Seemed to work for the rest of my face. Yeah, this is like perfect. It blends in so well. It just looks really yellow on the skin, but it's not. Ooh, ouchie, ouchie, ouchie. Damn, that one really hurt. Life's crazy, but it is what it is. I have no idea what to get my mom for Christmas, and I hope she doesn't watch this because if she does, then she may or may not hear something about Christmas for her. I just don't have like a lot of money right now because of like Corona and I'm not working and all that. This foundation is very sheer. I'm trying to like add a little bit more in places that I want a little extra like coverage and stuff, but it's not really covering much. I think this is more of like an everyday kind of foundation, or like if you're going out to run some errands and you want a little bit of coverage, because this is not covering up much. And the reason I'm able to judge that is because I have like 2 pimples down here and then a few pimples up here next to the cuts. Well, not pimples, like the scars of the pimples, and so I want to see if I can cover that up. Something about this white paint is not setting when I put something over it because it's now just adding white to my crease, and that's not what I want. Now let me go in with that other brush to blend out. I'm gonna have to fix that. I don't know how though, because no matter like if I put creams or powders or whatever it is, you know, like nothing is gonna set that because it's not a liner, you know. So after applying this foundation, sorry, I'm like trying to look really up close with that. It's sitting on the skin nicely, but it's not like, it's definitely light coverage. Very light. Does it say on here? No, it just says oil-free hydrating foundation. Typically hydrating foundations though, they don't have to be super thick. It says the color's Classic Ivory, this LA Girl Pro Concealer, but it's more of like a peach tone, so I'm gonna use this to color correct. I don't really have a brush to blend this in. We'll try this brush. It's just like a fluffy brush. No, that's not gonna work. I'm gonna use the corner of this. Wow. That helped a lot compared to the darkness that was there before. My goodness. It also kind of covered up a little bit of the bruising that was around that cut. My face looks really pale. I'm so sorry. I'm still trying to figure out the lighting because I can scoot the lighting back a little bit, but then it like casts shadows, so I need to have it close, you know? That way my entire face gets covered, you know, in the shot. I'm gonna take this one's really old and I probably need to get a new one, to be honest. My contour stick from Wet n Wild. It's in the shade Oaks on You. Oh my god, no. And then I just take like a fluffy buffing brush. It's kind of like dense and I just tap this on here. I do this if I want something more natural because instead of applying the product straight to my face, I can control how much I want. God, I'm itchy. Hair on my face. So we'll go at my cheekbones and we'll go. So you can see the darkness down here. We're gonna go slightly above that, like right above it. And I'm just lightly gonna pat, and this is gonna bring a little bronziness to my face so I don't have too much foundation and all that. So it looks like I've been in the sun and that it's not just super flat, you know? Sometimes I get lost in thought, or like I'm still getting used to the whole being on camera kind of thing. And sometimes like I'll start thinking about things and then my thought process will just completely switch over to like the fact that I'm on camera, and then I completely will forget where my thoughts were going or where the topic was and stuff like that, because I just get nervous. I don't know, because you can be in front of a camera, but the moment that you're in front of the camera, people are gonna start judging you and like all of that, and I don't want to do all that. Okay, so this one looks a little bit lower than that one, so we'll darken this one just a little, slightly down, just so they match. And then I'm gonna go in with my foundation sponge. No extra product on it. I'm gonna take that side we used for the foundation. Okay, this is not gonna work. I'm gonna have to take another shadow. You can see on my eyes how that white's transferring. I have to figure something out. I can't just leave it like that. That's gonna drive me nuts. So we'll just cover that with the red on this brush. Kind of like that. And then just gonna take small, very small brush and try and set all that again, because that's gonna really mess with me if throughout the day it's just gonna be white up there, you know? But that's also my fault for not having a freaking proper shadow or liner. I mean, what happens when you don't have the right stuff? We're gonna make it work though. We have to. Okay, here. So I'm gonna go back in with that sponge. I'm gonna make sure that that doesn't crease. Okay. I'm gonna take my liquid blush in that general area and we'll blend that out. Very blushy on this side. It's okay. We haven't put powder on or concealer on yet. So once the concealer goes on, then it will look more cohesive and matching on both sides. Okay, now I'm just gonna blend that out with that. Now it's time for concealer. And I'm trying to think if I brought any other. No. So we'll go in with the Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Light Sand. We'll just put a little bit like that. And then over those cuts, chin, pimple, pimple. And we'll just match. My sponge is so dirty. With all that, I'm gonna add, I feel like I've got hair all over my face. Okay. Now I'm gonna add some of this Rare Beauty highlighter, this liquid highlighter. But I kind of like the subtle glow for the holidays. Okay? And then take a smidgen on the tip of the nose and above the brow. Like that. And then I'm gonna take my setting powder, wipe all that off, go back over everything, make sure that everything is ready to be set, which I think it is. gonna take my my Laura Mercier translucent powder, and I'm gonna take that on that same sponge, go back in, make sure no crease, pick up some powder, and we're gonna set it right under there, and I'm just gonna go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, because I want to make sure that that really set under there and that there's not gonna be creasing happening here. Also want to make sure that my face looks very smooth, and I'm just lightly, my powder is flat in there, so I just take the sponge, set it in there, pick up like the tiniest amount, and I'm just lightly setting everywhere on my face so that nothing will move and that everything gets put in the place that it's supposed to be, like that. That actually made my face very smooth, very smooth. Let me zoom in. Okay, so come on, forehead. So my skin is looking. Now we're gonna take my setting spray, and I like to do this. I think this is a really important step. Once you set your face with makeup, or like put on the powders and creams and all that you want, then I like to take my setting spray and I'll shake it up, spray my face, and I like to make it where it's wet but where it's not dripping, and then I take my sponge and lightly pat over my entire face. Some spots like this look a little too wet, so I'm gonna just wait for that to dry, or I'll use my fan, and I just kind of wait for it to get a little drier. So I'll take my fan and then I'll put it over my face, let some of those areas get a little more dry, and then I'll take my damp sponge and pat over everything. That way it all looks very blended. I think the creams and the powders and all of that are going to look more smooth and more cohesive. Now I'm gonna bronze. I'm sorry about the sniffles. I'm allergic to dogs and I live with all of mine, so I have sniffles all day, every day. I'm gonna go in with the shade Cinnamon, because cinnamon is a little more warm and batter is a little more cool. So with a fluffy brush, I'm gonna dip in, tap off the excess, and lightly just go over where that bronzer was put. I like looking a little more bronzed than normal, just because I spend so much time outside, but I wear sunscreen, so I want my face to look like I have been getting sun, even though I make sure my skin doesn't really get sun. I also will take that bronzer on my nose, so it looks like my nose is just a little more like pinched in. Now I'm going in with that middle shade batter on this kind of a brush, and I'm only putting it like on the side. That way when I go to contour, the contour shade's already in the spot that I want it to be on the brush, so it won't, when I go to put the brush on my face directly, it won't spread that product somewhere else where I don't want it. So we'll come up here a little bit, take a little bit, put it right here so that my double chin doesn't look as prominent. Going with blush next. I'm gonna go in with this one. You can't really see what it is, but it's from AOA Studio. It was $1. It's a very like deep red, shimmery kind of color that has like this white running through it, which is like iridescent. It's more of a reddish color. So I'm gonna go in with this blush, and I'm just gonna like pat, tap, kind of scrape it a little bit. That way the blush is high up. Bring the blush up just a smidge, little blush, just on my nose, to make it seem like my nose is really cold in the snow, even though there is no snow. Okay, I'm gonna take that. I'm having a lot of problems here with this eyeshadow. That'll have to work. Because I want to take this Urban Decay Heavy Metal glitter liner in the shade Grind and go over where the white is. That way it's nice and sparkly. I want to try and add this glitter. That way it won't mess up the white too much. Like maybe if there's this glitter down on top or something, you know. Look, it's kind of like peppermint. And now I really hope that that will help. I'm going to go back in with the Carnival palette. I'm going to go in with this shade called Pink Me. And it's like a really pretty iridescent pink shade. It's white and then you put it on and it comes off pink. So I'm going to put that right in the inner corner of my eye. That way everything's kind of tied together. Look it up just a little bit. And now for the bottom lash line, I'm gonna go in with shade Inferno, that same red one at the bottom. I feel like I should make that color darker, the black. I kind of want to put this glitter on the inner corner. I don't know if I want to take that same shade on my brow bone or not. Actually, I think I'm gonna leave my brow bone white. So we'll do that, and then I'm gonna go in with the liner. And the liner I'm gonna use, I think I'm gonna mix two. These are the LA Girl liners, and they're the Shockwave neon lip liners. However, I don't use them on my lips, I just use them on my eyes. One's in the shade Pop, and the other Fiery. And I'm probably gonna mix them. Actually, we're gonna go in with this orange shade instead, and it is in the shade Outrage. And now I'm gonna go back in with that little brush, everything together. I'm gonna take this, it's a Wet n Wild highlighter. I think it's from the Skull collection, or I can't remember what the collection was that like they released this in, but it's in the shade Moon Tears, and it's very, very glittery. I would die if this like fell over somewhere. I'm gonna take a fluffy highlighting brush from Morphe. Lightly take any and put it on. I don't want, oh my god, I don't want too much of this because it like is very glittery, and I don't want a bunch of like glitters on my face. And then I'm gonna take a tiny little bit of this and just lightly put it on top of where I put that glitter and that pink iridescent shade. That way we can get a little bit more shimmer out of it. All I have to do, I think, left is mascara. Probably not gonna do anything on the lips other than like a lip balm, because in my everyday life I don't wear lipstick. But for today, actually I'm gonna take this eyebrow and mascara duo. I'm just lightly gonna go over that. It's already put down, I just wanna give them a little extra oomph. Wow, this hack for eyebrows has changed the game for me. Holy crap. Changing out the little thing inside the lash curler is a game changer. Like the little part down here. I'm gonna go with two mascaras. The L'Oreal Air Volume Mega Mascara, and then the L'Oreal Bambi Eye Mascara. And both of these mascaras are incredible. So good. If you want like volume, then the one I'm using now, the L'Oreal Air Volume, is the way to go. It's so pretty. Ooh, the air just came on. Oh my god, that's so cold. I'm sitting right under the air conditioner. This is how, hold on, let me put my hand here so you can see. This is how the lashes are looking, just with one coat of them, of the mascara on. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let that side dry, and I'm gonna do this other side. Well, I don't want this side to fully dry. I want it to kind of dry. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back in that same mascara. My lashes look very, very voluminous. Now I'm gonna take the L'Oreal Bambi mascara, and the wand on this one is much different, so it will help separate. And then this one I use to help lengthen and separate. And this is how they look right now. I'm gonna take that same mascara and put it on the bottom. Actually, no, I'm not, because that brush is way too big, and I'm not taking that chance. I'm going to go in with the Essence Lash Princess mascara, where this wand is very small. So I'm not gonna like fuck myself up. Just ignore the little spots of like black anywhere. I still have to get, and this one little piece of mascara. Okay, so I can't exactly remember where I left off, but I'm not gonna put lipstick on or any kind of like lip gloss or anything, because I don't usually do that every day. I don't really like wearing lipstick. I know it kind of like completes the look, and every now and then I will, but for me it's more focus. Like I would rather focus more on the eyes. Ooh, let me fix that. Pro tip, if you ever have any like mascara on your lids, like, okay, you can see a little bit right here and some over there. If you ever have that problem, you can always take either like a Q-tip or a brush that you use that has like the same coloring on it, or a clean brush or anything, and you can just lightly dust over it. You have to let the mascara dry. You have to let it completely 100% dry, and then you can buff it out like that, and it just goes away. But yeah, this is the finished look. Not too hard. I mean, the only part that was difficult for me was the white part, because I don't have the actual eyeliner. But if I had the eyeliner, this would have been a million times easier. And it kind of reminds me of Peppermints. I didn't want to do something like too over the top, because I don't know, I didn't feel like walking into a store today with Christmas trees on my eyes, you know? So yeah, with all of that being said, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.